Okay, so this is for geometry for 1.5. So less objectives. You need to be able to apply properties of vertical angles and apply properties of what is known are complementary and supplementary angles. Please notice how that is spelled. You're not saying nice things about an angle. All right, couple things to talk about. Adjacent angles. In geometry, we call angles adjacent if they share one side and have no interior points in common. So let me draw you a quick example here. So if I've got angle, call it ABC. That's an angle. If I draw one right off of it, I would say angle ABC and angle CBD are adjacent. So those two angles are adjacent. So what does it mean to have no interior points in common? Well, that just means they don't overlap. All right, so kind of what they're looking at is this. So if I've got an angle that looks like this, and I've got one that looks like this, those two are not adjacent. Okay, that's what that means. They're not adjacent to each other. All right. Linear pair basically means this. Basically means the two angles together are adjacent and they form a straight line. Okay, so what this means is this. Angle 1 and angle 2 are a linear pair. They are adjacent and they form a line. They have to be adjacent, okay? This, while together they might form a linear pair, they're not a linear pair because they are not adjacent. Likewise, they have to form a line. If you have two angles that are adjacent but they don't share a line, they're not a linear pair. Vertical angles is something that I really, really hope is kind of intuitive. Basically, it says when you have two non-adjacent angles across from each other, like this. So if I have two angles like that, 1 and 2, angle 1 is going to be congruent to angle 2. Angle 1 is going to be congruent to angle 2. Likewise, the top and bottom ones are going to be congruent too. So if I had 3 and 4, angle 3 is going to be congruent to angle 4. Remember, congruent, all that means is that they have the same measure. If I were to actually get out a protractor and measure the angles, they would be the same. Complementary, supplementary. Complementary means two angles that add up to 90 degrees. Supplementary means two angles that add up to 180. So complementary is 90, supplementary is 180. The easy way to remember that is that C is first in the alpha, comes before S in the alphabet. 90 comes before 180. C comes before S, 90 comes before 180. Complementary is 90, supplementary is 180. All right, so take a look. If I've got a 25-degree angle, its complement, not complement, complement is going to be 90 minus 25, which should be 65. Its supplement is going to be 180 minus 25, which should be 155. So for number 2, 90 minus 87, that should be 3, 180 minus 87, and that should be 93. All right, take a minute and fill in the rest. Okay, so do a quick check against mine and see what you get. If you have an angle bigger than 90, like for number 4, there is no complement. The complement doesn't exist. Okay, you can't have like a negative angle measure to come back to. All right, so number 2, the supplement's 46. Number 4, complement 82, supplement 172. Number 5, complement 0, supplement 90. So take a look here. You've got WZ, this line, crossing VX, this line. That was a terrible drawing. I'm sorry. Pair of vertical angles. So we'll go easy. So angle VXW, this top one, and angle YXZ, the bottom one. So how many pairs of vertical angles are in this diagram? Well, there's two pairs. There's the top and the bottom and the left and the right. But then there's also linear pairs. All right, two angles that create a line. Well, this one and this one create a line. This one and this one also create a line. So pick either one of those that you want. So I can say, you know what, angle YXZ and angle ZXV form a linear pair. So the degree measure of an angle is 3 times the measure of its supplement. Find the measure of each angle. So let's see. So we've got an angle. The angle is 3 times the measure of its supplement. So 3 times the measure of its supplement means 3 times the angle plus the angle is going to add up to 180. So A plus 3A equals 180. So how big is the angle? How big is the supplement? So A plus 3 times A has got to add up to 180. Supplement's the dead giveaway. That's where I get this. So a little division. So A is going to equal 4D5. So the angle is 45. The supplement then is going to be 45 times 3, which is 135. So those are the measures of the two angles. So the degree measure of one of the two complementary angles is 6 more than twice the other angle. Find the measure of each angle. So let's start with 1 being the first angle. And this angle is 6 more than twice the other angle. All right, so you've got twice this angle plus 6. So and these two together are complementary. So that means A plus 2A plus 6 equals 90. So, just like an algebra problem. Go zipping through here. Let's see, 2 and 8. So one angle is 28. The other angle is 2 times 28 plus 6. So 2 times 28 is going to be 56, plus 6 is going to be 62. So that's what those two angles are going to be. All right, but notice what I did. 6 more than twice the other angle. 6 more than twice the other angle. That's where I got that. All right, so take a look here. You've got two crossing lines. When you have two crossing lines, that indicates that these two are vertical, these two are vertical. So that means that they're going to be congruent. It also indicates that these form a line, so that's a linear pair. This is a linear pair. 1 and 2 is also a linear pair. 3 and 4 is also a linear pair. So there's a lot going on in there. There you go. So angle 2, they say, is 120 degrees. So angle 4 is 2x plus 40. Figure out what x is. Well, take a look. These two are vertical. So a little solving indicates that you get that. Subtract 40, divide by 2, divide by 2. So x is going to be equal to 40. For number 7, angle 1 is 3x plus 10. Angle 4 is x minus 30. Now, it's no longer 2x plus 40. Now it's x minus 30. Figure out what angle 3 is. Okay, well, these two are a linear pair, so they add up to 180. Okay, so a little solving. I get x to be 50. If x is 50, figure out the measure of angle 3. Angle 3 is going to be equal to angle 1. So angle 1 is 3 times 50 plus 10. So that's 160. That's how big angle 3 is. And up here, you know, I combine like terms, add 20, divide by 4. So that's where I get 50 from. So find the measure of 5 and 6, given that 5 is 3x and 6 is 2x minus 15. Now, look here though. It adds up to 90. All right, this is the dead giveaway. Remember that is why it equals to 90. So what I want to say is 3x plus 2x minus 15 equals 90. All right, so we got to figure out the measure of angle 5 and 6, given that these two pieces are here. So combine like terms, add 15. So 5x equals 105. So x is going to be equal to 21. So if x is 21, how big is 5? How big is 6? Well, if x is 21, 3 times 21, that's going to be 63. And this one's going to be 2 times 21 minus 15. So that's going to be 42 minus 15. So let's see. That's going to be 727. There's your answer right there. Perpendicular are two lines and perpendicular if and only if the two lines form right angles. The international symbol for perpendicular lines is an upside down T. Perpendicular lines form two right angles. Perpendicular lines intersect to form two adjacent angles. All right, so if you've got this, these two are perpendicular. They form two right angles. They form two adjacent angles. Now, slight sidebar here. What if I have lines that continue through like this? Well, if that's the case, how many perpendicular right angles? How many right angles do I have? Well, here I've got 4. How many adjacent angles do I have? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 there too. So it kind of depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about just stopping at the line, then there's 2. If you're talking about going to keep going, there's 4. Okay, look at this big mess. So you've got X and Y. So you're trying to figure out what is PR, what is SQ. PR and SQ are perpendicular. So what you want to do is tell me PR and SQ are perpendicular. So you got to make sure that that's a right angle, and you got to make sure that's a right angle. So you've got 2 small problems to say. Figure out X and Y. So to figure out the top one, you've got to figure out that this is 90 degrees. And what makes this equal to 90 degrees? Same idea with the bottom one, except you've got these two together. So you've got 2 little problems to solve. No problem. Little work, I get Y to be 23. Little work over here. $84, that's 54. 90 minus 6 is in fact 84. So that's going to be 1, 2, 12. Okay, so take a look at those, back up, slow down if you need to, get your questions answered. That's all I got.